called him up and said, "Hey, why don't we get some lunch or something?" And he was wonderful. We had a great lunch together. And I said, "You know what? Call me up if those guys are getting together.
Right.
Call me up." I where he's now.
Yeah, and so you're going to go to lunch with Carl Reiner.
Yeah. Gonna go over to his house, hang out.
I wonder what's doing there.
Yeah, well.
Carl Reiner's like 95 now.
Yeah.
He's 92, I think.
Something like that.
Yeah.
He says he gets up and he writes every morning still to this day.
Really?
Sharp. He's sharp. Yeah. Yeah, he's amazing.
And what are you going to do? You sit there? How long are you going to...
He's drooling.
well, we're 95. Let's see what we do.
Exactly, man.
Right.
Exactly.
All right, sounds like a fun day.
I'm just going to show me the way.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
I should do some of that, actually get together with people.
Yeah, you really should reach outside of yourself for a second, Howard.
Yeah,
you're so happy about having, gotten to really know Don Rickles.
Yeah,
before
exactly.
he passed.
That's true.
And as soon as you start to love someone, they die.
Yeah, great. I finally open up to someone, and the guy's gone, and I'm all bummed out.
Lana, you're the angel of death.
Yeah, I started.
God.
Who wants to be friends? Gotta go see the doctor.
Yeah, watch out.
Hey, I gotta say, by the way, I'm very excited because my grandson, he just hit a 3-run homer in the semifinals of the Encino Little League game and took his team to the finals, and they won the championship. Okay?
We expect nothing less.
It's incredible. He's like, and it proves one thing. You're never too young for metabolic steroids.
That's right. You put him on at a young age, and look at how this kid is performing.
Incredible.
Right. What does your grandson call you?
Grandpa.
Really?
Yeah, but not in public. I won't allow it.
A fucking A is
I won't
right.
allow it in public.
Yeah, I mean, you're in Hollywood. You can't have that.
Yeah, who is he in public?
Yeah. What's your name in public?
Said, "Now, go get me my teeth bleached."
Yeah. Or he just goes, hey, that's the guy from The Mask.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, listen.
I haven't introduced him to all my movies yet. He's a big Grinch fan. He likes to watch The Grinch.
Yeah, I mean, shit. Look who his grandpa is. It's the whole thing.
All my family do to stay in touch with me when I don't see them.
Yeah. Did you watch your movies?
They watch my movies.
Yeah, which is a great version of you.
It's the best possible.
Exactly. It's perfect. Listen, the TV show is called I'm Dying Up Here, executive produced by Jim Carrey. That's what he's talking about. Sundays, 10 p.m. on Showtime. Check it out. It's the rich life of stand-up comics as they struggle to actually put it all together.
Yeah, man.
And it's all there. All right, listen.
Beautiful.
All right, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, thanks for
Really
calling
good
in.
to talk to you again.
Loved it.
Robin, you've never looked more beautiful.
Of course.
Why, thank you. And it was fun talking to you this
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah, all right. Now, listen. Have fun with Carl Reiner. Mention my name.
I will.
All right, thank you.
Cool, man.
All right, later.
Later, gang.
All right, Jim
Bye.
Carrey. It's Jim Carrey. Look at this guy. There you go. All hopped up with this new project,
Yeah, but, a different guy. Sort of happy, mellow,
Yeah. And he said, look,
giving.
guess what the fuck do I need? I got enough dough. I can sit here and,
Yeah, even if he went to his closet, that would not be a bad deal.
Right. Got a big closet. No double-decker tennis court, though. Doesn't want one.
No, he said he's not using the one he has now.
That's it. All right, anyway, I got to take a break. We'll come back. We'll do some news for you. We'll talk.
Jim and Dana, welcome to the show. Nice to see you. Good to be here on Tom Power Radio. That's good. I've been petitioning them to let me name the show that. I feel like your seal of
Very
approval
good.
there is going to make it happen.
With great power comes great Tom and responsibility. There you go.
You know what? That's what my mom used to say to me all the time. With great power comes great Tom and responsibility. Dana, this book comes out of 8 years of work together. I read that one of your first face-to-face meetings with Jim was in his studio in New York. I wonder if you can give me paint me a picture of what you saw that day when you went in to meet Jim.
I saw my earliest encounters with Jim had been watching In Living Color, and then as a kid, and then years later seeing him in Man on the Moon, and marveling at the artistic transformation. And what I saw was someone who was in the beginning of another amazing transformation like that. I could sense it. So we chatted, and then some time went by, and we both realized we were insomniacs who would download large amounts of early human history and apocrypha on streaming services in like at 3 a.m. And that sort of led us to the first chapter of the book and this wonderful long conversation.
It really began in an art studio in New York, and he walked in and saw me amongst the vestiges of my life. The torn to pieces, deconstructed me in every version known to man. So immediately we connected.
There were images there that were resonant, where you had to take note of it, like it's a painting of Malibu in flames.
That's
There's a
one of the most
self-portrait that's
famous
splashed.
people
I
on
thought,
earth.
okay, like there is, this is someone who is
Rich,
really,
successful, free,
diving deep.
sitting in the
I was
kitchen just
looking
like
for,
ours.
the piece that lies beyond personality.
Well,
Jim
I'm
Carrey.
interested in talking about the piece that lies behind personality, and I'm especially interested in the way that you did it, because there's a lot of options ahead of you in terms of your collaboration together. You could have done a traditional novel, just, you could have done a work of fiction. You could have done a memoir.
No way.
What I read here, Dana, is something sort of in between. It is obviously a work of fiction. There's moments I can recognize of Jim's actual life in there. So I'm curious as to why this particular synthesis was the road you wanted to go down.
I was always interested by the engineering of a medieval cathedral, and that it's not a natural space, right? It's a constructed space, but it's constructed in the service of a truth, because you have these vaulted spaces where you can put early cinema, right? Stained glass windows that often tell the story of the Passion. I thought of the fiction as being the construction.
Jaka
constructed
prosta
in service of
konstrukcja.
illuminating
Na worku komuś jak przelecieć.
in Canada, and I thought that the line had already been blurred, and then we got together and we realized it not only been blurred, but it had been befouled, because most celebrity memoirs were messing with the truth anyway, either through omission or distortion.
Reordering of things to make it look glowing. And I've always believed that persona is a fiction to begin with. And most of us are walking around as a fiction. We have our religion, and that's an idea, and we have our nationality, and that's an idea. And but we'll drill down to it. What's left? Everything. There's just everything left.
I think Jim, you had to do that because in this case, because to be an artist who is so well known is to contend with fictions of you that exist in a billion minds. So you are dealing with fiction if you are someone of his profile, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, and I guess that's what stuck out to me in terms of like that this didn't seem new for you, Jim. Like if I look back to the Truman Show, or I look at your portrayal of Andy Kaufman in Man on the Moon, and not just that, but like the Netflix film that came out later, where I was sort of trying to delineate between who's the actor here and what am I really seeing. And then even in Kidding, I felt the same way, that I still saw shreds of what I might know as Jim Carrey in that character. There
has to be truth. There's only one well to draw from, and you can dress it up however you want to. But if that core of truth isn't there, the water doesn't quench your thirst.
But I feel like in your roles, often it's truer to what we might know of you, or it's truer to Jim Carrey, as opposed to like a truth of I lost my father, or a truth of my dog ran away. Like it's almost a more autobiographical truth that I find in a lot of your roles.
I try to bring that. But again, when you drill down, even the biographical truth is a construct. And so I wanted to get past that. What's beyond the invention and disguise? What's beyond the red S we have on our chest? That makes the bullets bounce off. And this book does that. It really basically looks at how persona becomes sarcophagal. And at a certain point, if you build a strong enough one, you've got to claw your way out in order to get to the real you.
What is it about the tension between real and unreal that you find so exhilarating?
I think real is an illusion. I really just think it's as simple as that. I think that there's, I adhere to the old Advaita Vedanta, which means the knowledge that there are no two things. And it's the best thing Buddha ever said. And that is, Advaita Vedanta is the basic tenets of it is that there is the absolute and there's the relative. The relative is you and me relating to each other as separate things. And all kinds of craziness can happen because the ego keeps reminding us that we're separate things and there's something at stake and there's something I can lose. The absolute is the knowledge that there is nothing that isn't you. So there is nothing to lose and nowhere to go. You know, if you get a sense of that, you get a real understanding of that, you get glimpses. And I tried, that was one of our main goals in this book is to go through this absurd journey of definition and of the madness of Hollywood and
Осторожно,
building down
осторожно.
whole structures to get to
Зараз як я візьму
at
одну
least
бричку, то
a
воно все
moment,
полетить,
at
поки не
least a
вкусно.
taste of that infinite nothingness or everythingness.
Dana, did you? I mean, this is quite a powerful thing. And Jim, I know you've been navigating this path for a while. And, how much work did you have to do, sort of, even personally or spiritually, or existentially, to start working on this book?
I mean, I think we both had similar references, which is probably why the conversation was so rich starting out.
Okay.
And we do see these differently, but there were
Треба ще
like
10 минут.
key cardinal works like Malik, like the Thinner Line, where we could both watch that and see the exact, basically the same thing. So we were able to come together, and I learned a lot about how Jim sees the world, and Jim is the subject of the book, so that was my job. So there was no problem for me there.
We both have our expertise as well. He's a much more educated fellow than me. And so he knows in a classical sense how to come at these things, and I have been a seeker my whole life. So I have done my own research, and so it was a wonderful
And then
combination.
also, I think I learned about like how to go into the unknown. From Jim's a truly great artist, and there's a fearlessness that comes with that, and capacity for discovery that was always exciting for me. It was an incredible thing to get to be around.
But the Jim Carrey who goes to the store and buys, a cup of coffee, or the Jim Carrey who goes buys a head of lettuce, what's the difference you think between that?
Is an infinite being that needs caffeine.
and green vegetables. Between that, what's the difference between that?
I think that's the secret, by the way, to Canadian niceness. Chicory.
I just spilled, I'm not going to lie to you, I spilled a full coffee on the floor while waiting for you to do this interview.
Reaching for a donut.
Hello, we'll go.
Oh.
I hate myself whenever I come back home to Canada, man. It's like, how long can I go without saying the word Tim Hortons? Really, not very long.
What's the difference between the Jim Carrey in the line of Tim Hortons and the Jim Carrey in this book?
Well, ultimately, none. There is no difference. They're both their ideas. And abstract constructions. I truly believe that, and this is not an arrogant thing. I'm not being supercilious when I say, we all have this. You are the space in which all of this is happening. And if you really
Ейте, пожалуйста, подвиньте.
when I started out by trying to
Подвиньте
understand
язык.
the text, and really being inspired by it, and going like, okay, I sat back one day and I went, what if that coffee table was my foot?
А что ты делаешь?
And
Не надо зробити.
I tried to kind of expand my consciousness that way, actually just physically, like the coffee table is my foot, and I try to feel that as a part of my body. Actually try to experience it like you could experience your hands. You can feel a feeling inside your hands when you concentrate on it. So I started that, and it started to expand itself until I become the walls around you. And I become you, and the air we breathe, and we have everything in common. There's nothing we don't have in common. We are one thing. Try to breathe without the trees, and you'll find out quickly.
Isn't it a bit scary to let go of that sense of just yourself, of who you've been told you are and who you feel that you are?
It's the most terrifying thing in the world. It's the most terrifying thing in the world because you're being asked to die to this thing you've been protecting your whole life. But here's the great part. You don't have to stay there, and in fact, you can't. There are moments where I've gotten to that place of understanding and that tangible feeling of it, and gone, my God, I'm never going back. I feel so free. There's no me. It's just I feel the ocean, the bottom of the ocean, and the rings of Saturn, and whatever else is one thing, and it's an incredible feeling. And then the illusion of our lives becomes so compelling that you get dragged back into the program.
Yeah, and you must come back and go, all right, well now I gotta get a cup of tea. You know, you must come back and
You
all
got
right,
to
you
feed
know.
the body and the brain, yeah, and you got to feed it with friendship, and you got to feed it with love, and this vessel, this thing, requires a lot of love and care,
What I find interesting about this
and
is
with
that
relevance, you know, some
Yeah.
sort of relevance.
with some sort of relevance. What I find
In your
interesting.
own life.
I think this sort of self-examination is interesting on a person like yourself, Jim, whose life has been so examined. And when I was doing research for this interview, I was coming across, I mean, a lot of biographical information. You know, the story of Jim Carrey, and in Canada, you know, I know we have a deep pride for you. You know, whatever pride means, but we do.
I do
you know.
too. I love Canada. It's an extraordinary place that seems to give everyone who comes from there a sense of a special grace, and it's known in the world.
All the dream and none of the catastrophe.
Well,
Yeah.
there's
We were stationed there during Vietnam. I mean, just like, you know, we didn't there's a lot of things we didn't have to deal with directly that we had an outside perspective on, and it's kind of overlooked.
Dana, what did you learn about Jim that perhaps we don't know, or perhaps you didn't know going in?
I mean, quite a lot, but because when I went into this, one of the first projects was to download enough of his memories into my head so that I could achieve some kind of a virtuosity with another person's experience. So that was a task that I didn't know I was undertaking. That was probably 2 years of talking on the phone at that point. I don't think we were Skyping. That was like 2012.
Yeah,
I was living in Brooklyn. I'd go walk at night. So, I mean, the biography, I mean, the first books I read growing up were biographies. William Manchester, you know, my father would have his books and I would just crack them open. So I took that very seriously. The work of the biographer had to be done before you could begin to the experimental literary project of an autofiction or an anti-memoir.
And you have to download, you know, I was downloading to him all the time, and he would come out with these extraordinary ideas, and I would say, that's wonderful, and here's actually something even more insane that really happened.
There is a magic. I mean, it's great. Like, there was a moment where, like, we'd been talking, and BT was in New York, so we met, and like, we read through the chapter, and Jim goes, well, it was the Kelsey Grammer chapter, the seance, the cult album. Jim goes, look, this is great, you know, well done. But what's missing here is clearly, I mean, I can see it. Kelsey wants to be the guru, and I thought, oh, that's Jim Carrey.
Ego hasn't entered the room yet. Ego in the room,
And
because I've had those gatherings with like actual spiritual teachers come over to dinner, and friends who come, and we're dying to ask these people who are, you know, very wise and discerning our most, you know, heartfelt questions, and you know, one guy won't shut up because he's going, I think what it is this, right? And they're like, they'll do this oration and then look to the guru and say, am I right?
Now hold on, Guru. I was in Waterworld, and I have a couple of thoughts on this. And that's
Exactly.
I understand.
Exactly, and we're just going, you know, we really invited him here to hear him.
But you mentioned Kelsey Grammer. These people are named. You know, Gwyneth Paltrow, Kelsey Grammer, Anthony Hopkins, Nick Cage.
Yeah.
However, obsessed with fighting aliens and possessing Excalibur. Have you heard anything from them, or their lawyers, or anything?
I've heard from my lawyers. I think I'm okay. No, you know, it's very innocuous. It's not like we go for anybody's jugular, you know.
Yeah. No.
It's slightly less penetrating or upsetting than a Ricky Gervais Golden Globe speech. So, you know, I poke fun at everybody. I poke fun at my family. I poke fun at my friends, and I think no human being should be above that. So I think it's all good, and you know, they've been renting space in our heads, right? For
Yeah.
a very long time. So I think
I heard Nick Cage was cool with it. I heard he liked it.
Nick Cage loves it. He's out of his mind over it. He's really happy that I gave him all the best lines.
I want to play a clip that I think was reminiscent of my favorite moment in the film, and this is another one of the real people who makes an appearance in Memoirs and Misinformation. Take a listen to this.
Well, the first time I saw a psychiatrist, I felt like 2 cents. I was a kid. I said to him, Doc, can you help me? All day long, he's thinking I'm ugly. He made me lay on a couch, face down. I tell you, when I was a kid, I got no respect. No respect at all, you know? The time I was lost on a beach, and the cop had me look for my parents. I said to the cop, I think we'll find them. He said, I don't know, kid, there's so many places they could hide.
That's a little bit of Rodney Dangerfield from a Tonight Show appearance in the early 1970s, and I guess with Jim Carrey and Dana Vachon. Jim, I know Rodney gave you one of your first big breaks in show business. He took you on as an opening act. He makes an appearance in this book in the form of a talking rhinoceros. It's one of my favorite parts of this book. I found it such a tender moment, and I didn't know about the connection between you and Rodney. I wondered if you could tell me something about you and Rodney Dangerfield.
Well, we go way back, and I was living in Canada when he hired me the first time, and he saw me do my amazing Kreskin impression, and he literally fell on the ground laughing. And he wasn't just laughing because it was one of the funniest things I did. He was laughing also because he knew that really people in America didn't know Kreskin. And he goes, "That's the biggest thing you do, and nobody knows it." He thought it was kind of absurd. But yeah, he was an incredible human being and tremendous support. If he loved you, man, it was like under the wing and, telling you what you needed to know. And that you needed to make the tank so strong that no bonehead could stop it, and all of those things, and supported me when I was experimenting, and would stand backstage laughing and going, those people are looking at you like you're from another friggin' planet, man, but supported me, kept hiring me, and he was just lovely to me. First time he ever saw me, he said, "Hey kid, you ever been in love?" I was so green coming from Canada, that we had beautiful times together. And Joan Dangerfield has gotten in touch with me since she read the book. She read it in 2 days. She said she couldn't put it down, and many of the phrases were stuck in her head. And I don't know what I can say on your show. Can I curse?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, she said, especially the chicken.
Sure.
And she said, "It's so Rodney."
Странно, опять хуй, что немає, то
But she's
опять,
just
что опять
over the moon
немає.
about it as well. She's very happy about it. So I look forward to everybody who's going to come forward. But it was an opportunity for me to tell the world that, to me, there was a very special, divine spark.
Братья и сестры, слава Иисусу Христу! Написано в Писании, что сей день... Братья и сестры, слава Иисусу Христу! Написано в Писании, что сей день сотворил Господь, радуемся и возвеселимся. Этот день действительно Бог благословил, это утро благословил Бог.